My uncle abused me for years. My parents sued me for everything, including his death. After they kidnapped my daughter and tried to kill me, they were finally arrested for life. I've debated posting this for a long time, but after everything I've been through, I think I need to finally get it off my chest. Maybe someone out there needs to hear that even if your entire family turns against you, you can still survive it. I'll start from the beginning. When I was around 6, my parents started leaving me with my uncle, let's call him Dennis, whenever they went to work. He was their golden child, my mom's younger brother, and the one everyone in the family adored. He was charming in public, charismatic, the kind of guy everyone trusted without question. But behind closed doors, he was a monster. He screamed at me constantly, pulled my hair, locked me in closets for hours for talking too much, broke my toys in front of me if I cried. There were even times he'd shove me hard enough to knock me down. And when I told my parents, they laughed. They said I was dramatic and ungrateful because Uncle Dennis sacrifices his time to watch you. They praised him for disciplining me. This went on for years. I stopped complaining. I stopped crying. I just endured. When I turned 18, I finally escaped. I'd been working since I was 16, saving every penny. I bought a tiny studio apartment with what I had and was ready to live in peace. But Dennis, he refused to let go. He showed up at my doorstep 2 days after I moved in. Said, "I'm just here to check on you," and pushed past me into my own home. Started criticizing how I organized things. Said he had rules I needed to follow even though I didn't live with him or my parents anymore. When I told him to leave, he grabbed my wrist. Hard. So I pushed him. Not hard, but enough to make him let go. I told him, "You don't control me anymore," and shut the door in his face. 2 days later, I came home from work and found fire trucks outside my apartment building. My place burned to the ground. Everything gone. The cause? Arson. Surveillance footage caught Dennis in the area just hours before. It was enough to open a case, but somehow he lawyered up and sued me for pushing him earlier that week. Said I caused emotional trauma. He claimed I burned my place down for attention. I countersued for arson and destruction of property. That's when the gloves came off. My own parents sued me too. They said I was defaming the family and trying to destroy Dennis's reputation. They testified against me in court. Said I was always emotionally unstable and probably did burn my place down. I won, barely. My lawyer dragged up every piece of evidence possible, including childhood CPS reports that my mom had buried. But they didn't stop. For the next year, my parents kept suing me. For the most ridiculous things. "You owe us for raising you. You caused emotional damage by cutting contact. You stole heirlooms. You lied in court." Each time, the cases were thrown out. But the emotional toll was unbearable. My bank account was draining. My mental health was shattered. I got a call late one night that Dennis had died in a freak helicopter accident. Apparently, he was doing a sky tour with some girlfriend and the engine failed. They crashed into the side of a mountain. I thought that would be the end. But no. 3 days later, I was served. My parents were suing me for Dennis's medical bills. For a crash I had nothing to do with. They blamed me for pushing him into emotional instability. Because I didn't pay those bills, they were eventually arrested for fraud and harassment, after a mountain of complaints from other people they had tried to scam too. And yes, they sued me for their arrest. They were eventually given life sentences for fraud, harassment, and violating multiple restraining orders from not just me, but others they had tried to extort. I thought I could finally breathe. I started a life, got married, had a daughter, until they struck one last time. My parents escaped from custody during a hospital transfer. They showed up at my house, somehow, and kidnapped my 4-year-old daughter while I was at the grocery store. They left me a note that said, "Maybe now you'll know what it feels like to lose someone you love." I called the police immediately. I was frantic. When I finally tracked them down, I tried to get my daughter back. They tried to kill me. My own father pulled a knife. My mother screamed, "You ruined our family." They stabbed me in the abdomen and left me to die on the side of a dirt road. I barely survived. I was hospitalized for weeks. The police found them hiding out in a remote cabin with my daughter. She was unharmed, thank God, but traumatized. They were both arrested again. This time, for attempted murder and kidnapping. They were convicted and sentenced to life without parole. The media covered it. It was all over the local news. My whole extended family, who once shunned me, finally saw the truth. When I released evidence, years of abuse, threats, texts, documents, police reports, they were horrified. People who used to call me selfish now called me brave. I later filed one last lawsuit, this time, against them, for all the years of false claims, harassment, and pain. I won. It wasn't about the money. It was about reclaiming my life. My daughter is safe now. My home is calm. And I've finally learned that family is not defined by blood, but by those who choose love over control. So if you're out there and your family is toxic and cruel, know that it's okay to walk away. You are not obligated to destroy yourself for people who would never lift a finger for you. I did, and I survived.